you gotta make sure you're covered.
Welcome back to Uncensored. Last week I criticised Elon Musk's decision to allow the massacre-denying conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to return to X, formerly Twitter. Some people weren't happy. They included the influential...
That little dislike there of Piers. Good.
This is what he had to say on his show, Louder with Crowder, about me.
This brings us to Piers Morgan's rules for me. He hosted Alex Jones on his very own program this year. Piers Morgan doesn't understand what freedom of speech is. Piers Morgan has also hosted Suhail Shaheen, the Taliban spokesperson. Jeez. Wahid Asif Shaita, an Islamist extremist leader. Jeremy Corbyn, the anti-Semitic Labour Party leader. Just Piers, stop. I'm sorry. Fraud.
Piers is fraud.
Well, in the spirit of hosting very controversial people on my free speech platform, I'm now joined by Stephen Crowder, who can call me a free speech hypocrite to my face. Mr. Crowder, good day to you. How are you?
Well, thank you, Piers. Merry Christmas. And let me start off the bat. I do actually appreciate about you. Your audience may not know how rare this is, that you do these interviews live.
Licking his tip again.
Them up. You actually have a discussion, and I've been advocating for that my whole life. So really, I appreciate those steps in the right direction.
Blitzed, man.
And to be honest with you, the debate about what constitutes free speech and whether there should be limits, and if
he's making monies like this, he's getting the crowd of monies.
And a lot of people have strong opinions about this, and I'm perfectly happy to be proven wrong, or to at least have a debate with someone who's got strong views that don't necessarily tally with mine. So I welcome you to the programme. Let's start with your assessment that I'm a free speech hypocrite. So articulate to me why you believe that.
I believe the word I used there was fraud.
Yeah, he interviewed him twice, and his brother twice, and Alex Jones he had on, and Shapiro he's had on, and Taliban guy on. The monies, yeah, the monies.
Did I release? Okay, I don't remember saying it, but I'll take your word for it. And to some degree, I believe it. Look, I think that in hosting a show uncensored, and I can't see you, but I know you put up the very festive holly leaf on the globe there. It is incumbent upon you. You will say, I believe in the concept of free speech. Now, I'll be very clear in my definition of free speech. It's the constitutional definition of freedom of speech. All speech is permissible outside of a crime, and we have very clear parameters, and these have been affirmed by the Supreme Court as to what that is. That's a proactive...
It is true, though. He does say, like, Piers is constantly on, do you condemn Hamas? Isn't not condemning Hamas free speech? It's constantly like, oh, you motherfucker, you didn't condemn.
The crime is the action causing violence on purpose. Outside of that, everything is permissible. But for a show uncensored... And I know that you said there's a difference between across the pond there, and obviously in the United States, we have a First Amendment that you don't. How would you define freedom of speech?
I don't think we're...
Sorry, that doesn't make even... Omega, that doesn't even make sense that they would go up to $800. That means they're going to continue doing the same mistake. They acknowledge that Sean Layden said their games are getting too big, too expensive. So that means they're just doubling down on it now. They're going to keep making those games and charge you more and more and more and more. And people, and the Metacritic's going to go down and down and down and down. It's stupid.
We're as far apart as you think. I mean, you talk about the First Amendment not protecting, for example, crime. It's a little bit more complicated. For example, it doesn't protect you if you deliberately defame somebody. And my argument about Alex Jones in particular was that he's just been punished with over $1 billion fine in one of the biggest defamation cases in modern American history for deliberately telling lies about the families of the poor victims of the Sandy Hook massacre over a sustained period of time, which led to them getting direct harassment and other criminal activity. So I was joining all the dots there of his particular situation, and I concurred with Elon Musk's original view when he was asked about it when he first bought Twitter last year, which was he was not going to allow him back on. He's now changed his mind, but my opinion was based on the...
Isn't it funny they changed his... Elon changed his mind after he said fuck you to the advertisers who were calling him anti-Semitic. Elon said fuck you, fuck this $44 billion. Free speech greater than $44 billion. And he said fuck you to the lobby, the advertising for Zionism. He's like fuck that. But he's still spinning, because he took that trip to fucking Israel, he's still spinning the line, oh, Hamas are the boogeyman, Hamas are the boogeyman.
Constitution of the United States not protecting you if you are guilty of defamation.
Well, okay, so I'm going to have to take the rounds out of that magazine from how loaded that question was, and so much misinformation there. And that's the beauty of the freedom of speech. You can say that, you can speak misinformation, and you have the right to, for example, saying he knowingly lied. Look, I'm not in the business of defending everything that Alex Jones has said, okay? But if you're going to say the 22 minutes out of 8,000 hours of broadcast time for which he apologized, acknowledged that he was wrong, constitutes what you are saying is proactively lying. That is a very dangerous precedent to set, and it's not accurate.
Now I wonder now, after everything Piers has said, and flexing and virtue signaling, I let people on who disagree with me. Like, he brought Crowder on because it's a flex for him. You know what I mean? Crowder calling him against free speech, so he let Crowder on. The flex, look at me, I'm letting Crowder on, man. I ain't against it. Let's see if he lets Alex Jones on. After all this complaining and shit he does about re-platforming Alex Jones, guaranteed in at least a couple of months, he's going to have Alex Jones back on for the monies. He's a fucking hypocrite, man.
Stephen, he did deliberately lie for a
But that's the thing, though. Is anyone going to call him out? Is anyone going to call him out on it? You complaining to Elon that you're platforming him, now you're like, he's acceptable again. Whenever somebody's acceptable again, flavor of the month, he brings them on. Because he's like Forever World. He thinks people will forget everything you've said in the past couple of years, and it's true.
For years about these families. He knew Sandy
Tell me how
Hook.
he deliberately lied.
He knew that.
Tell me how he
deliberately lied. And he was found to have deliberately lied.
He doesn't deliberately lie.
In his defense, he
Tell
tried
me how he deliberately lied, please.
In his defense, he tried to play the First Amendment card, and it was rejected by the judge. Rejected.
Tell me how he deliberately lied.
The worst I can say is Alex Jones is often dumb enough to believe the conspiracy theories. He's often dumb enough to believe sources that aren't like 100%, so...
Please.
But he didn't deliberately do anything.
It wasn't a hoax. He knew the massacre had happened.
Incorrect.
Let's listen to what he said.
That's incorrect.
Let's play what he said.
Hook, it's got inside job written all over it. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. People just instinctively know that there's a lot of fraud going on. But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake.
Whole thing was fake. Repeatedly. That's a series of different shows he did.
You still haven't answered. You still haven't answered. That doesn't prove that he knowingly lied anything.
Yeah, he didn't know that Sandy Hook happened. Like, he was questioning it for like a year.
Stephen, you and I disagree. Hang on. I'm going to respond to you. You and I disagree about many things. We agree about many too.
Wait,
But on this...
Wait, Kaiser. Khan believes Kaguya was on the moon for real when it comes to anime, along with his tourist peeps. Why, Kaiser? Why you believe that?
On this point, you're a very smart guy. I wouldn't question that for a moment. You and I both know Alex Jones knew that was not faked Sandy Hook. You and I both
No, he didn't know. He didn't know. How'd you know?
To spit the words out that you just tried to place in my mouth. I do not know that. I don't agree with the premise, and you have yet to prove it. Here's the beauty, though.
I don't have to prove it.
Even if you were to commit defamation, even if no, it didn't, and even assuming that you don't discuss the caps with your audience, and I'm going to continue speaking as though we're having a dialogue. Even assuming that you don't discuss the caps, that he would never pay out the far lower settlement that they have decided they would allow, considering this will go to a superior court and will get thrown out. Even if you allow all of those things, here's the beauty of the First Amendment. Here's the beauty of the First Amendment. Even if you at one point commit defamation, you still don't forfeit your right to speak going forward. You don't lose a fundamental human right.
You know the fucking snobbery of Piers to think that everything, like you can see it, that he believes everything he fucking says. When Piers says, no, it's not this, it's not that, he's like a purveyor of fucking objectivity when he speaks. Even though he's just chatting shit.
That's not why he was banned from Twitter.
I know
that.
He was banned from Twitter. He was banned from Twitter for having a pop at some guy from CNN. I don't care about that. I'm more interested in why Elon Musk tweeted when he bought Twitter and was asked, will you bring back Alex Jones? He said, no, I won't allow somebody back on, having gone through the pain himself of a child dying in his own arms, one of his children. He wasn't going to allow someone who profited from the pain of dead
Oh, now children matter.
to be back on the platform. He then changed his mind, which he's allowed to do. He owns the platform. X is a private company owned by Elon Musk. He can do what he likes with it. But they also have a series of rules which are available on their website, which you can check about what is allowed and not allowed. And they will deplatform
Piers is done.
if you transgress those rules.
Piers is done.
My point to you is that
He's not part of the cool club.
the situation with Alex Jones is that he was found guilty in an American court of defamation, and
You can tell he's running out of coverage. Or the most views he gets is for the Palestinian coverage. He's running out of Jews to bring on his show. He's bringing Chelsea and Israel football managers onto his show. You know he's running out of guests to bring on. He's exhausted all the pro-Palestinian mouthpieces. He's exhausted all the pro-Israeli mouthpieces. He's running out, so he's bringing on football club, ex-football club managers.
and to Elon Musk that he can bring him back. But I agree with the first version of Elon Musk's decision-making, not the second one based on a completely undemocratic poll.
And now stimulus package for his YouTube channel is attacking the First Amendment. Piers was never more relevant when he was attacking the First and Second Amendments in CNN. Everything went viral. So he's going back to his shtick, ripped again, about either attacking the Alex Joneses or the gun rights or the First Amendment shit. This guy is thick as bricks. But whoever's sending him his script is a genius. Is a fucking genius.
Well, I agree with you that it shouldn't be left to a Democratic poll because the First Amendment is not subject to a vote.
Right. But you accept the First Amendment of the US Constitution has a number of things which are excluded from protection, whether it's child pornography, fraud, defamation. There's a whole list of things which you'll simply.
But that has nothing to do with speech.
No,
Alex.
but you're conflating.
Sorry, Piers.
But I think you've mischaracterized.
Alex.
I've never said he hasn't got a right to say what he wants. He can say what he likes.
He loves Alex.
Everyone's right to say
Fantasizes about Alex.
The question is accountability. And the US Constitution, which you don't think I know anything about, but actually I know a lot about. And I'm a huge...
I didn't say you don't know anything about it. I really don't believe that. I know that you have studied it.
In another clip from that same show you did, you basically said, I don't know much about the US Constitution because I'm not American. And that's fine. But I have lived and worked in America for 20 years. I have tried to really get a handle on the US Constitution. And on the issue of the First
bullshit.
It is a complicated thing. It's not as simple as saying you can say whatever you want. Well, it is, because it doesn't allow the unfettered free speech, but with protection that you're suggesting it does.
It absolutely does.
It doesn't.
It absolutely does, barring, would you like me to explain? Barring what I've already outlined. Actual criminal behavior calling for violence against other people. For example...
Yeah, look, I don't understand. How is questioning Sandy Hook hate speech? I don't understand. I just don't understand. I'm not saying I'm saying I agree, but how is calling for Sandy Hook? Sorry, how is questioning the validity of Sandy Hook? It's like saying 9/11 was an inside job. Nobody got a deplatform for that. It's because Adam Lanza killed himself and the family needed some boogeyman to blame it on because they couldn't get justice. Adam Lanza just fucking killed himself. And you're like, oh fuck, we can't spin this in the news, man. We can't sue anyone. We can't do this. Let's just put it on Alex Jones.
And I'm saying this in your defense. For example, you made your joke about being a two-spirited penguin, right? I thought it was cute. I think it was funny. And I understand the point that you were trying to make, okay? You have had people accuse you of creating violence against trans. You know that, and we know it's absurd. So who defines what is actually calling for violence, or if you
but here's
basically
the
in a roundabout way?
No, here's the difference. Fuck you, man.
Unless you called for violence.
No, but you keep saying
that
that
you were a two-spirited penguin.
Piers actually thinks that he's just because he's a white man in a suit that he's just immune to bullets, just immune to everything. Pompous twat.
On free speech is crime.
Yes.
And I keep reminding you that Alex Jones was found guilty of defamation.
This is America's whole issue. You see one white dude in a suit sitting on a chair with a fancy accent or speaking sophistry and like with silver tongue, like the Sam Harrises or the Douglas Murrays or this guy, and you just think everything coming out of his mouth is fucking peach and rainbows. Like, this guy isn't spewing fucking liquid horseshit in your face. Oh, it's Mr. White Man. He must be right. He's in a suit and he's white and he's middle-aged. He's like 45 plus. He must be right. Everything this man is saying is right just because he speaks in a fancy, like Jordan fucking Peterson. Jordan Peterson, listen to the white man sitting there in his fucking suit. His pressed suit, fam.
Other things that's not protected by the First Amendment.
America falls for it. They fall for the Tucker Carlsons. They fall for the Piers Morgans. They fall for the Jordan Petersons. The white man in a suit sitting there with his legs crossed on a fucking chair. I mean, this is why I like the fire stars like Mohammed Ajab, Alex Jones. The fire stars, the guys that just lose their shit. Because you can see the passion and not this fake chameleon bullshit that Jordan Peterson he does and all these other Sam Harris motherfuckers do.
No, it's not protected in a you can have civil damages and your First Amendment rights don't cease to exist. In other words, you can pay. You can pay the piper for what you have done in that
still being
individual
held
instance.
accountable.
So if someone at some point, if someone accuses you,
they're all lining up though. All these American guys are still lining up to be on his show though, Kaiser. They're taking notice of him. There were some conservatives that said that Piers is the new Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson is the new something or other, the new Alex Jones. They were lining up to be on this fucking show.
That actually, by God, is successful. Let's say that. Does that forbid you from speaking publicly thereafter?
No,
you don't lose it. It's
but
a fundamental human right.
Not at all. But it does allow, I'm exercising my rights to free speech to say I think he shouldn't be allowed back on X, which was the position of the owner of X until last week. So my point is that Elon Musk has made two judgment calls about this. One I agreed with and one I didn't. And I'm exercising my free speech rights to say I don't agree with it.
You are. And I completely support your right to that. The problem is Elon Musk changed his mind in the face of new information. And if we want to have
honestly, the suit has an effect, guys. Yeah, Alex Jones is funny because they're passionate what they do, and yet their followers fall for it. There is something to the suit thing, though. Who's that guy? Paul Bet Davis or Patrick Bet Davis? He likes sitting in a suit on his show, and people love him. Paul Bet Davis, Patrick Bet Davis. So maybe there is this subliminal sort of thing going on with the suit. Only because Israel Palestine after that would be irrelevant again. This is why he's moving on to attacking the First and Second Amendment.
You know what? This is one thing I often ask. And by the way, I think that none of this is a gotcha for Twitter clicks. I hope to God it's not. How often, when you were on CNN, or how often when you were on a morning show there in the UK, or how often you see on any news network someone say, you know what? New information came out and I was wrong. And I say that because you've done it and I appreciate it. You said, you know what? If I knew what I know now about the COVID vaccine, specifically that if you get the COVID vaccine, you cannot.
I could.
If I knew that was incorrect, I wouldn't have espoused the views that I did.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think the problem that we have in today's society is not wanting to allow people to be wrong, to make mistakes. In the realm of comedy, look, good jokes.
But I'm not gonna lie. Even for people like this, it must be uncomfortable. Unless you're like sitting with the key lights and headlights in your fucking face, sweating, buttoned up. It's just at home you want to be like, it's chill, you know what I mean? Loose clothing and shit.
Sometimes you have to risk something and it's not funny.
I agree
Sometimes
with you about all that.
Express an opinion.
Yeah, but I agree with you about all that.
Sure.
I agree with that. I tell you, that's really the bedrock of this show. But I come back again to why I had a particular issue with the Alex Jones thing, is that unlike the other circumstances you're describing, in his case, he was found guilty of a serious defamation against the Sandy Hook families. He was fined over $1 billion. So far, he's not paid a dime of that money. And, you know, Elon Musk has made two calls on it.
I don't like peacocks.
The first one, I agreed with. I don't think that people like Alex Jones should be allowed an unchallenged, unfettered public platform.
I'll tell you something. The last wedding I get to, being able to button up the peacoat would have been a miracle. Like the last wedding I went to was like a friend of a friend's wedding, and it would have been a miracle from God if I could get that peacoat closed. My metabolism was going down the toilet by that point. I could just barely get into the suit that I wore to a wedding like a year and a half, 2 years prior. I was like, fuck. Happens.
In my estimation, dispute lies.
Unchallenged?
Are
you out of your tree, sir?
He's
unchallenged. It's a cesspool.
No.
Anyone can say anything they
People
like.
can reply to him, but no one can have a direct challenge to Alex Jones, like I did when he came on my show.
Of course they can.
Look, like you picked out, for example, that he came
In
on
my
the
mom.
show, Jeremy Corbyn,
Hypocrite.
Taliban spokesman, and so on. Yes, because in each of those cases, I put them through the mincer, right? And I'm prepared to have them on to give them a hard time and challenge them. You might agree or disagree with that, but they're all pretty volatile interviews. But I was able to challenge what I perceive to be their untruth.
No, that's the wrong thing to do. If you can't fit in your suit, you should aim to lose enough weight to get back into that suit. That's the way. There's two ways you can go. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do that, but then again, I haven't had an excuse to wear the suit again, because all my friends are married now. The goal should be now for me to hit that waistline or weight when I was in that suit, instead of just getting a bigger suit.
Clip of the Corbyn one to show you what I mean. Have a look at
You
this.
seem to be
Hang on,
over-concerned with...
With anti-Semitism.
No,
yeah.
no, I did not.
I am. Should Hamas stay in power? It's actually
Are you done yet?
It's actually a critical question.
Are you done yet?
It's a critical question.
Are you done yet?
No, it's the question.
Are you done yet?
Should they stay in power?
Are you done?
I'm not
This
gonna lie.
country says that-
Even though I side with Corbyn, do they have thrift stores? Yeah, they do. Even though I like Corbyn and side with Corbyn, he was such a wet blanket in this fucking interview. He didn't even bother to speak up for his side. He didn't bring the aggression that you want. Fucking Corbyn.
They're a terror group. Do you
He's like
agree
fucking
should they stay
Bernie. He's literally Bernie.
in power?
Listen, I do not approve, support, or welcome Hamas.
Are you prepared to call
Is it
Hamas
possible
a terror group?
Is it possible to have a rational
You can't,
discussion
can
with
you?
Is it possible? Come on, answer that
You
question.
can't, can you?
You answer it.
No, it's my show. You answer my question. Now, the point of playing that clip, other than to entertain you, as I'm sure it did, is that, yes...
I hate that clip. I hate everything about that clip.
Why do you hate it?
I hate it because I don't like Jeremy Corbyn, but I think he's a bombastic prick, but I also think that you should have let him finish speaking. Why? Because then he would express bad ideas.
Yeah,
That's
but
why I support freedom of speech.
But actually, in the end, I could tell very quickly he was never going to give an answer, and therefore we were in a game of cat and mouse, which went on so long that the viewer was left in no uncertainty.
Corbyn was giving non-answers as though he thought he still had a political career. That's what pissed me off about Corbyn. We know Corbyn's done. We know Corbyn's too extreme in his belief and his record to be PM. But my man was sitting there giving non-answers as though he has to shield himself from controversy, like he's still got a political career. He ain't got a fucking good political career.
He was. Because otherwise you just say Hamas are a terror group. It's not difficult. And in fact, 2 days later, he admitted Hamas are a terror group. That was his position. But only after I shamed him into doing it.
Shamed him into doing it.
So that's it. So you want to shame people into agreeing with you.
No,
I would
not at
rather
all.
just let
Not
them
at all.
speak if they have bad
Not
ideas.
at all. I want to shame them into giving an honest opinion. What I will really lose my rag about, and I'm sure you must be the same, when people just obfuscate and don't give a straight answer to a straight, simple question, then I will go after them. If they give an honest answer, even if I don't agree with it, I respect that. And in fact, I think people who watch my show regularly will see that is my position, whether I agree with them or not. I have lots of people on that I don't really agree with. But I find the ones that I have respect for are the ones who give a straight answer to a straight question. So let me ask you a straight question.
I will admit though, anyone who can say Hamas are not a terrorist group have my respect. The only person that said that was the Five Pillars guy. The Five Pillars guy. He said, I don't consider them a terror group. Respect to that guy.
Sure.
David Duke, the former KKK leader, he's banned from Twitter. Elon Musk hasn't brought him back. Right. Should he be allowed to be back on X?
Throw that at me. Really? You just say, I want to ask someone a straight question. You have me here. I'm basically a specter. I don't appear on any... You want to ask me about David Duke?
Yes. Because he's banned from Twitter.
Should David Duke be allowed back on X?
Yes.
I'm not as familiar with David Duke as I am with Alex, which is
They just told him he's the leader of KKK.
About anything.
No.
If David Duke has called for the violence, look, if David Duke has called for the violence, actions of violence against minority groups, then no. If David Duke has espoused horrible points of view that can be refuted, by the way, not only by other people who are on X, but by the community notes on X, and on a platform where people are free to speak on both sides of the aisle, then yes. It doesn't mean that I think he's anything other than a racist prick.
So I'm trying to work out whether you...
Can I make one point?
Yeah.
Can I make one point that
It's true, though.
This is
He's
really,
right.
and hopefully we can agree on this, because I actually disagree with you that Elon Musk can do whatever he wants with his own platform. It comes down to this. I think, and if you look at the historical record, I think it is far more dangerous for society to engage in a culture of censorship, of viewpoint discrimination, than it is to allow people to speak freely, barring the committing of violent crimes. I think that we see a far worse dystopia in our future if we allow the government.
Dude, we're kind of winning this war. You know what I mean? The conservatives get Alex Jones back. Muslims get to point at Israel and say, look at what fucking Israel's doing. Don't tell us to condemn Hamas. Even non-Muslim Finkelsteins and the like pro-Palestinian white dudes like Owen Jones are not falling for this trap where you condemn Hamas, because they know we can't in good conscience condemn Hamas because you take the autonomy from Palestinians. So you conservatives got your Alex Jones back. We don't have to fucking condemn Hamas. We're fucking winning this, and Piers is sitting there. Piers is sitting there thinking that he's like the last bastion of decency.
Platforms to determine who can speak and who cannot. And there, we've seen some very clear examples of this. If you give me 30 seconds, let me lay this out for you. For example, I don't think they have the right to
no.
Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Here's why. They benefit from Section 230. Now, I know you have a lot of fans in UK. They may not be familiar with this. Let me explain what it means. They're basically treated like public utilities, meaning that they have immunity from liability for someone saying something on their platform. For example, AT&T here in the States can't ban you from their phone service because your racist Aunt Tilly drops an N-bomb after a few drinks at Thanksgiving. They're a public utility.
Wait. This is what they want. This is what they want. The Mel Gibsons, the fucking Hulk Hogans dropping the N-word after getting angry or drunk. This is what they really want. This is what I disagree with the conservatives, right? For me, when I say the N-word, I say it like what's the word? Not in the sense that it means. And I only drop it now and again. Whenever there's a context for dropping it, like Kaiser drops it, I tend to avoid it, right? The N-word, but not with the hard ER, just the A. But these guys, these conservatives, with the Mel Gibson phone call when fucking Hulkamania's chick that he was having a fucking affair with, or wife, was banging some other dude, the way they use it over the phone, it's in their lexicon, with the hard ER. It's in there because it's subconscious. They fucking hate. It's like people who have Tourette's. You know, people who have Tourette's say, I'm not racist, I'm not this. I've seen videos on YouTube of five people sitting in a room who have Tourette's, and they all bounce Tourette's off each other. And it's like they're finishing each other's jokes. It's subconscious coming to the front. No doubt. It's like saying the quiet part out loud that people don't say. But these guys, they're like, oh, AT&T will fuck you over because you said the hard ER. UK doesn't have freedom of speech, it has freedom of expression. Yeah. You can get arrested for saying, yeah, it's different. Yeah, but we don't, you can't get arrested for saying the N-word with the hard ER. Sorry, you can say the N-word with the A in America, but over here we can't say it. But when I say it in the way you guys say it. I mean,
States can't ban you from their phone service because your racist Aunt Tilly drops an N-bomb after a few drinks at Thanksgiving. They're a public utility. These big tech platforms are treated as platforms where they are not legally liable for what is permitted, but that allows them to engage in viewpoint discrimination. And then there is no.
I'm not gonna lie. I refuse to accept this myth that the N-word only applies to black people. Because it used to apply to anyone who was dark-skinned. It used to apply to the Native Americans before it was ever applied to. Look it up. Look up history. You know, it's weird that America forgets all of it. It was applied to the Native Americans, the Reds, and the brown. It was applied to them before it was applied to them. It was basically anyone they saw as inferior.
Top story.
Yeah.
I'm an N-word.
This is why I make all references publicly available, because I want to be held to account, and I will be held to account. Would have changed the election if the government was not, and when I say colluding, I mean Joe Biden, Jen Psaki, Kamala Harris, Karen Jean-Pierre calling for the removal of Joe Rogan from Spotify, calling for the removal of vaccine scientists, by the way, of mRNA vaccine scientists from public platforms. If all information was allowed to be transmitted freely, like the platforms, as they are treated under our legal precedent here. And
what's your views, Omega? As a half Puerto Rican, half African American. What's your views on the N-word, Omega? American freedom of speech allows free speech, which includes racial slurs.
Trump would be president. I'm saying this as a matter of record and fact.
I think context, Matt,
would not have
as well.
gotten the mRNA vaccine, specifically men under 30, and lockdowns would have lasted days, weeks, not.
That I agree with. Either everyone uses it or nobody uses it. America's right. America's right. Either everyone uses it or nobody uses it. Because then there's hypocrisy, you know what I mean? That includes African Americans. Mashallah. I agree with you. That's actually an argument that Abdullah Andalusi made to people about free speech. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's either all speech or no speech. You know what I mean?
Years. That is irrefutable, but you had the government and these platforms deciding which views were allowed and which views weren't. And I don't think I should be allowed, you should be allowed, and certainly not the government colluding with 5 companies who control over 90% of the information in the digital sphere. It is
Jews control the media. He's going to say it.
I think I'm reasonable.
No.
He's talking about the Jews control the media part.
I have written numerous columns about the outrage of the New York Post having that initial exposure.
You know, it shows how much Piers knows. He just referenced the whole Jewish conglomerate in the media owns 90% thing, but he only used a vagary, like equivocated, right? And Piers doesn't even know that he's referring to that.
Laptop censored by Twitter, as it was then, for 2 weeks, right before the 2020 election. You know, I've said to Donald Trump to his face, never mind the stolen election bullshit you keep trying to pretend happened. I said, focus on that, because that probably swung the election, because it stopped the media investigating properly what was going on with Hunter Biden in Ukraine and what his father's involvement would be. I think that could have swung the election. So I absolutely agree with you.
Let me give you a funny story about it. And not only could it would have, according to Dr. Epstein. Do you realize? Now, I'm a comedian, right? This show, that's why I appreciate you said, hey, you got to chuckle from our segment. Some of it is tongue in cheek. And I appreciate that you recognize that and not try and use, you acknowledge that it's a joke, whether it's funny or not. So as a comedian, the host of a comedy show, Rudy Giuliani was on this show. And the first time the public ever saw Hunter Biden's laptop was on this show. He brought it up. He goes, I have the laptop here. The FBI came, they searched my offices. They took everything but the laptop. I go, wait. Is that the Hunter Biden laptop? He said, yes. Episode is banned. Suspended from YouTube.
Wait, really?
Think about that. Think about how terrifying that is. It was an accident.
It's wrong. It's wrong. Let me ask you though, yesterday on your show, you appeared wearing a t-shirt saying Alex Jones was right, changed my mind. So my question is, what was he right about?
Oh gosh, how much time do you have?
Okay, no, is it,
Are
man?
you talking about Sandy Hook?
Take care, man.
No, I'm not talking about Sandy Hook. He said he was wrong about Sandy Hook.
Right.
He apologized for Sandy Hook.
When he was sued, he said he was
Eventually.
Alex Jones was right.
Wouldn't be addressing that. If it's he says I was wrong, it would be awfully daft.
But what are you alluding to then?
I'm alluding to, for crying out loud, if you talk about intelligence agencies spying on Americans, if you talk about what we've done with South American countries, as allowing the spread of STDs, for which Hillary Clinton apologized for, if you talk about nation building, where there have been underhanded deals with nations
9/11.
that have our best interests at heart. I mean, it's, take
9/11.
I don't believe
He's right about 9/11.
George W. Bush was next to the Twin Towers with an Acme plunger. No, I'm not that kind of a conspiracy theorist. But when Alex Jones said, look, you are going to be corralled into social media ghettos and lose your right to speak, he was right. He's right about a lot. And I will say
Clinton spread STDs. Fuck them fucking them Latinas, yeah.
Everything that Alex Jones has ever said, I'm willing to defend everything that I...
They love fucking them maids. They love fucking them Latina maids.
Expect him to be. He's a friend of mine. And when everyone else tucked tail and they ran, I'm not going to do that.
How many scandals have come out of big white celebrities, whether in politics or thing, they're fucking their ethnic or Hispanic maids or help or nannies or what's it called? Babysitters.
I'll tell you where I think he's wrong. But that man has a right to speak, just like I believe you have the right to speak. And Piers, if you think they're not going to come for you, oh my word, do you have another thing coming? And I hope that you don't.
I hope Brent comes for. I hope the royals. I hope there is the conspiracy with Prince Charles, the royals, and the government and everyone. I hope they come for fucking Piers. Because from on our side, he talks a lot about the royals. Like Piers got Piers got fired because of all this talk about the royals and simping and all this kind of crap. I hope they fucking come for him.
I genuinely hope that you don't.
Well,
I mean, I've had people say that I was a hate speaker because I said soccer was gay. I do. I think so.
You think soccer's gay?
Homosexual, yes.
Why is he laughing
You know
and
what?
smiling?
That's a whole other
He doesn't do that. He looks disgusted, like he's looking down on a fucking single-cell organism. When he's talking to brown people on his fucking show, he looks like he's looking down on a single-cell organism. When it's these right-wing white guys come on his show, he's like laughing and joking and, you know, promoting their books and shit. You know the woman who came on about the Jewish space lasers? Do you remember I reacted to the interview with the woman who came up with the whole Jewish space lasers are causing forest fires? He was having a merry song and dance about that. Not one brown person on his show, pro-Palestinian, has said anything as anti-Semitic as that white chick who's promoting a book. But not only did he promote her book on his air, but he's sitting there joking and laughing with her. This is why Piers has, forget it, outside of making the money and doing all this kind of thing, this man as an individual, as a real person, is filth, scum. And I meant it when I said that. When he passes from this life, I hope he passes in the most agonizing fucking pain. I'm at work, leaving in a bit.
Debate, Stephen Crowder. Let's have a debate about whether soccer is gay. And if it is, by the way, I would be happy to embrace its homosexual side.
Well, I know you would. I know you would. But with that accent, you have to be careful. People take you seriously. I think it's great. I think it's great if you're a 6-year-old girl or a homosexual from Greece, to quote Nick DiPaolo.
Yeah, you know the difference between our football and your football? We don't wear helmets to protect ourselves. We're real men over here.
You also don't allow contact.
We're real men over here. There's no great padding or
Glass Jordan, motherfucker.
pads and helmets. We just
Glass Jordan stale fucking ham sandwich.
Academy Awards.
You like to wear helmets and carry guns. We just use these guns. But that's a whole other debate as well. Stephen Crowder, got to leave it there. It's been a good debate.
Yeah, your Glass Jordan stale ham sandwich, fam.
Really interesting area, free speech. I think ultimately we agree about more things.
Yeah, but his mouth is writing checks that he can't cash.
Thank you for joining me.
This fucking ham sandwich.
Angie, all the best.
Yeah. He's, in fact, he's the only reason he got a viewership is because he platformed pro-Palestinians. Whether I like his motives are nefarious. The other people are the reason people are watching. Mohammed Hijab's followers, Shapiro's followers, Palestinian crowd that want to see hard biting interviews, they're the ones tuning in and giving him the bump in views. It's not actually Piers' own viewership that's giving him this. Alright. Send, what are you up to, man? What's with the Piers obsession? No, because he has people on that I want to see. It's not that I want to see fucking Piers, because I fucking hate the guy. The most relevant interviews for people I respect are coming on the show. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear their words, because their words are going out. Forget, their good words are going out to the Twitters, the people who are sharing them. So, yeah, exactly. Who'd have thought Low Key would be on a show, or Mohammed Hijab would ever be on a show, or Normal Finkelstein would ever be on like a high-profile fucking show. You know what I mean? I only watched Bassem Youssef's interview because it was hilarious seeing Piers get wrecked. Yeah, Piers is always wrecked. He's always wrecked.